AFC audience, we've decided that we're brave. And we're going to talk about something that nobody else is willing to talk about in this country. And I'm, of course, talking about football. Nobody else talks about football. So, like, why don't we just take one for the team and talk about the NFL season, you know?
Yeah, we just kind of want to help people. If you want to get rich, you should
You
follow
should
our
not.
kind of
You
guidelines.
should absolutely not take our advice.
Well, it's not like they could like sue us.
You should take our advice. We are very smart and very cool.
I want to start, if that's all right with you, Keegan, with the one division in football no one ever wants to talk about.
Which one's that?
That is the AFC South. No one ever talks about the South.
Okay.
I feel like the South is the most forgettable division in football.
I agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, I always, whenever I can normally name all the teams in a division, and then there's always one I forget in the South whenever I think about it.
I usually just forget the whole division. Like, none of these teams impact my life ever.
Yeah, and well, two of them are hot fucking trash right now, and I think that'll get us started on our first team here. So last season, finishing fourth were the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes.
They went 1-15. It was kind of obvious they were tanking.
Number 1 overall pick. They stole it from the Jets.
They got Mac Daddy, Trevor Lawrence, right?
Oh boy, Pantene boy.
Number 16. Yeah, everyone's already saying he's gonna be a god.
He's the best since fucking what's the Denver Broncos?
They say Elway.
Elway. Why can't I think of John Elway's name?
They say Elway. They say fucking
Andrew Luck, right?
Yeah, Luck. They said Manning too. Like all the fucking elite number 1 prospect type of dudes.
Isn't that just the worst? Like if he's not a Hall of Famer, he's a disappointment in everyone's eyes. Like it's just messed up that people are already comparing him to like the top tier like quarterbacks of all time.
He's the most overhyped player, like, I think I've ever seen. Like, Andrew Luck got some hype, but nothing on the level of, like, fucking Lawrence. That I can remember, at least.
Yeah, not in my lifetime.
But I think even more exciting is their coaching, like, their new coach. So they fired fucking Doug Marrone.
Yes.
That dude was a moron also. But they decided to fucking hire Urban Meyer.
How do you feel about that hire? What do you think about Urban Meyer?
Well, Urban Meyer hasn't done anything like in the NFL. Good college coach. Didn't he there's that really weird shit that happened, like with the Buckeyes before he left?
He tends to stay, and then when there's a scandal, he has health problems and decides to go to a different job or retire. He does tend to have that. It has that pattern going on so far. Yes.
And I mean, the guy, he's already signing Tim Tebow stuff. He's doing some questionable things. Because I forget the details.
Do not slander Tim Tebow like that. Tim Tebow is about to have 75 touchdowns. Right? Comeback Player of the Year, MVP. You're telling me you haven't bought an 85 Tebow jersey yet?
No, unfortunately. Although, out of all the numbers, that's the best one. They hired a coach, and then he did some fucked shit, and they fired him within 24 hours. It was like a speed run to lose your job.
It seems like Urban Meyer's priority is hiring people that he worked with, and it turns out a lot of people that worked with Urban Meyer are terrible people or just don't deserve their jobs. And so he's already gotten some controversy, but for some reason everyone's like, no, it's fine, just don't worry about it, go Jags.
How many chances do you think he's gonna get? How many seasons if it doesn't translate? He's a pretty big name, even for being he's kind of like when the Niners got Harbaugh as their coach,
or the Eagles got Chip Kelly.
Guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it when the Eagles got Chip Kelly.
I think I think he'll be around for at least 4 years. He will have way more of a chance than he ever should. He shouldn't even get a season in the NFL. That's my first hot take. Urban Meyer sucks.
I don't even think his success really matters on the team more so than it does the development of Trevor Lawrence, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, if he is a bust, Urban Meyer is going to be blamed for it.
Yeah, even if it's completely unfair. That's kind of what happens in the NFL.
No one's going to feel bad for him, though, because fuck the guy, right?
No.
And so Lawrence is, he's going to replace Minshew. Uncle Rico, dude. Big Daddy Rico
sad.
himself.
It's very sad.
I'm a little upset about it, but do you
I loved
think
Minshew.
they're just going to trade him or some shit?
To the Minnesota Vikings, I would hope. But yeah, I mean, they should probably trade him because I think that he could be a very good stopgap quarterback for a lot of teams who don't really have their stuff figured out yet. But after this season, if they traded him to Pittsburgh, he'd be great for a couple years until they figure out their long-term solution. Like, he'd be perfect as like a transitional guy.
Yeah.
He certainly is a lot better than most backups in the league, so I think he'd be a great backup. They're not going to trade him this year, though. They're going to keep him around. Maybe next year they'll flip him somewhere else, I think.
I think he could fetch you like a nice mid-round draft pick. I just wonder if his value will go down a bit after not playing for a bit. Because Lawrence is definitely starting. Minshew's not going to get reps if they can, unless like injury or if Lawrence just plays like complete dog shit.
Right.
I could see a team like Denver, maybe the Raiders, if they finally get sick of fucking Carr trading for him. But yeah, my assessment of Minshew's kind of the same. Yeah, Washington would be a good pickup as well. I would say, even though I think the Jaguars are like a worse team, I think they're in a better like situation than the Texans are.
I agree.
And the Texans were third last year. They went 4-12. They finally fired Bill O'Brien, who was a football genius. It comes out that Deshaun Watson wants to be traded.
Mm-hmm.
And then, do we even want to talk about it? Like, it's such a like...
It's definitely not something that we should talk about like we have any expertise in it. We certainly don't understand.
On it. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, we're clearly not the type of people who understand the law.
No.
Let's just start with that.
It always, like, every time I see the headlines and all this shit, it always makes my eyes just, like, widen. Like, go
it's
like,
strange, though,
shit.
because for how much has come out about him, there's still talk that he could be playing as early as this year or next year. They're talking settlements. They're talking all kinds of things. It's bizarre to me that someone can have all the stuff come out and then, well, he might be playing this year. We'll see. It's like, whoa, like, that's a lot to come out. If it was going to
happen, though, in, like, any league, it would be the NFL.
Absolutely. 2 games for Ray Rice, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was 2 or, like, barely anything. That was a while ago.
It was bad.
But, so they're going to be without Watson, who's a generational quarterback. And so they got Tyrod Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
For a bit. I'm guessing that's who they're gonna start.
Yeah, unless they also drafted a quarterback from Stanford that nobody talked about at all. Mills. I don't even know his first name. I
didn't remember his last name.
Davis Mills, David Mills. I
think it's
Darnell
David.
Mills. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's probably Tyrod. Hopefully he doesn't get a needle to his lung this time.
Yeah.
I think he's a good choice. I mean, they clearly had to pick someone in a pinch. They didn't have any draft picks because of our friend Bill. And Davis Mills. There you go. So, I mean, I think he's a pretty good choice. You couldn't really do much better this offseason. And I think he'll do okay, for what position he's in. Like, The Texans are just absolutely fucked. I mean,
Yeah, I think they're going to be hot garbage.
they have no fighting chance to do anything, and it's a combination of circumstance and previous years of mismanagement. They've got no shot at doing anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I surprisingly don't have them going 0-17, but I could
I thought
100%
about it.
see them going 0-17.
I thought about it.
Yeah, because, like,
But
I
no.
mean, they don't have Watt. All the, like, faces of the Texans are
That's
gone
right.
now.
Watt left too. Yep.
Yeah, he's in Arizona. They hired David Coley. I think he was, like, a Ravens
Was he the janitor?
assistant. Pretty much. I never heard of David Coley.
I just can't wait for the year to end and to be able to look back on all of our horrible takes. It's going to be the best part about this whole thing.
Next up was Indianapolis. They went 11-5, made the playoffs with Phillip Rivers. How many kids? Like
9?
11? He's
20?
like fuck ton.
50?
Dude, he can make a sweatshop just out of his kids. Phillip Rivers is a fucking...
What would they manufacture?
Bibles. Have you heard this man talk? They had such a like Rivers quarterback season though.
Mm-hmm.
They were like good, but he'd always throw like a pick or do something stupid at the end. And even that like playoff game, they lost to the Bills, but they had it. They were still in it until
It was a really
Rivers
good game.
just couldn't do it. Really
Yeah.
good game, yeah.
Good game. That
So-
team now just has so much talent. It's ridiculous. I mean, they had it
The
last
Colts,
year too.
yeah.
Oh yeah, they're stacked everywhere. They've just been trying to find the right quarterback.
They still have a lot of cap space, or they did like last offseason. I can't think of who they really got, so I assume they still have all that cap.
I believe they have one of the highest cap in the league left.
But they need a quarterback since Rivers finally retired. So they traded for the myth. They traded for fucking Ron Weasley himself.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz. Thoughts?
Boomer bust. I mean, this guy was awesome until he sucked. He had a horrible season last year. It's boomer bust. He's either going to figure it out and fix it, and this team with all the talent and him stepping up will be great, or he just doesn't have it anymore and they'll suck. I mean, it's boom or bust. It's one or the other. There's no 8-8 with this team, or 8-9, excuse me, because of our fucking 17 game schedule. They're either going to be really good or they're just not going to click and it's not going to work. Boom or bust, for sure. What do you think?
I agree. I think I would lean more towards boom right now. I think playing in Philly has to be one of the worst environments if you're struggling as a player.
Dude, they had a virtual crowd that booed him. They weren't even there and they were booing him.
And I mean, like I always had to see Wentz play 2 times a year, and as the seasons went on, I went from like, oh shit, we have to play Wentz, to slowly just being like, oh, we gotta play Wentz.
Oh no!
Laughing, yeah. And I don't think it's because he's necessarily bad. People say he plays hero ball a lot, and I think that's true. I think he tries too hard to do all this stuff.
Trying to do it all himself.
Yeah, he kind of has that to him. I also think he's just rocked. Like, he's shell-shocked. Or he was.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I mean, the injuries just pile up with this guy. I don't even know if he'll play a full season in Indy. I think Brissett will definitely play, like, a game or two.
I mean, I think that's a good point. But he's never had a line like an Indy. I mean, he never had a Quentin Nelson to protect him. So I do think that he'll have a better shot at playing a full season than he did in Philly.
So the last team in the South was the Mike Vrabel-led Tennessee Titans at 11-5. Mike Vrabel is probably my favorite coach. Like, he's so funny.
He's amazing. I love that dude.
He was going to cut off his dick for a Super Bowl.
For a Super Bowl, yeah.
This dude's a legend.
He's a huge meme.
They lost to Baltimore, obviously, in the wild card game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the wild card round, yeah.
That's
they
right.
lost to the running back after having a really good running back.
Mm-hmm.
So the Titans can't sack anyone. It's really fun to watch them because they have a surprisingly good offense.
Yes.
And then you watch them on defense, and they're just not scary. Dude, they look very flat.
Yeah, I'd say that if your quarterback is good at like sitting back in the pocket and finding the right matchup, it's just the game's over. You're gonna get scored on a lot because there's a lot of time for the quarterback to throw when you're playing Tennessee. A lot of time.
Yeah.
Of course, if you have Kirk Cousins last year, that's a little bit of a different story.
Christ.
It's a little bit different. Just saying. He threw 3 picks. Or was that against Indy? I don't know. Fact check me.
I think Cousins is always throwing picks.
Doesn't matter.
Every time I watch him, it seems like it.
Frick.
Back out of the shotgun on 3rd down, and now he's flushed. Looking long for Thielen. Into double coverage, and it's picked off. Off the tip drill.
Ball, but that was with Stephon Diggs. No longer here. They need somebody else to catch those deep balls.
He's taking it deep, and they're all down there at the 5. And it's intercepted. We've been able to complete anything to him either since then. And this is another interception. Off the tip.
Move on. What were we talking about?
I was just saying they got the pieces, like they got Henry, Tannehill surprisingly turned his career around last couple seasons here. John Brown not John Brown, AJ Brown. Good wideout. Have him on fantasy this year, I think. The Clowney signing they did was awful.
Yes, it backfired
So
for sure.
bad. I don't think he got a sack.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember. One of my biggest problems with Tennessee, though, is like, even though Tannehill is pretty good, and I think everyone thinks he's, top 10 maybe, if not, then very close to it. Their passing game just isn't that explosive, and they rely very heavily on Derrick Henry to the point where, if you can stop him, and teams have done that in the past, like Baltimore, you're going to win.
Yeah.
So Tennessee's a weird one because they have a good quarterback and they have decent receivers, but their passing game just is really bland, and they need Henry to have a good game or they're going to lose.
They run an offense. They pretty much have the same formula as like what the Cowboys used to do, or like the Raiders with Jacobs. Like they're a top team, but they don't seem like a top team when I watch them.
They're like the most boring of the like bubble contenders.
Yeah. But I mean, in this division, it's either them or Indy.
Right.
Like,
do you want to go through records and who's gonna stack up now, or at the end of all of it?
Okay. I say after
at the
we
end
talk
of
about the
summaries. Okay.
Yeah. So you can go first with your South rankings, bottom to first.
Bottom to first, and I'll include the records. So I have Houston going 3-14, so just a little worse than last year. It's hard to have a worse season than they did last year, but without Watt and Watson, 3-14. They have a bad year. They won a couple games, but it's nothing to be proud of. Jacksonville goes to 6-11, so that's obviously 5 wins better. It's not great, but it's a pretty solid year. I think Lawrence he's going to be fine. He's going to be pretty good. He's not like, he'll be kind of like Burrow was. Hopefully not with the injury, but Burrow was good, but he wasn't the best, right? Like Herbert was going to beat him no matter what for like rookie of the year. But he was still very good. He still looks very promising. Still a good pick. I think that's Lawrence this year.
Lawrence is for sure rookie of the year?
No, he's like Burrow. He'll be good, solid, but not rookie of the year. That's kind of where I see him. So he takes him to 6-11, big improvement, but not nothing crazy. We're not talking playoffs. Let's not smoke crack yet. Next, I have Tennessee going 8-9.
Oh wow!
I think that they're a good team, but I don't see them being the best in their division.
Yeah.
I see them taking a slight step back, although there are talks that they get Julio. We'll see about that. And my top is Indy at 12-5. Like you said earlier, I think that Wentz will boom more than he'll bust. Remind me of their record last year. You just said it a couple minutes ago.
They went, I believe, 11-5.
Okay,
well
so yeah.
as Tennessee.
So similar year. One extra game. They have an extra game because it's 17 games. They'll win that extra game, and they'll be at the top of their division. So that's my prediction for the South. How about you?
Okay, so at the bottom, I also have Houston at 2-15. I think the Texans are so bad. So bad.
Wow. Okay, yeah, like that.
And I also have Jacksonville at 2-15 because they're also so bad.
In the same
I'm not
division.
On the Urban Meyer.
So
yeah.
Do they split games or does one team? Yeah. Okay, they split games.
And they both beat the Jets.
Amazing. So they both beat each other once and then the Jets. That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm not an Urban Meyer guy. Like, I think it's a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, he's super flaky. Also, like, you never know with college coaches. Because, like, look at what Saban did in the NFL. They seem to be more of a product of scouting than they are player development, in my opinion.
Right. Once contracts get involved, because Urban Meyer is so used to being able to get all of the best players in the country.
Exactly, right.
And it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. And the school he's at. Because he was always at Utah. He was at Florida. And then Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are three bigger name schools. Especially, like, the Buckeyes. And even the Gators. Right. So, second, I also have Tennessee at 11-6.
Ooh.
I think they'll probably be the same. They didn't really lose anyone or gain anyone. I do think that they'll be able to sack a little bit better because they were just that bad last season.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do get Julio, that offense should pick up.
Things will be different if they get Julio, for sure.
And the Colts I have at 12-5 as well.
Okay.
I think Indy is like a sleeper team for the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking. Because if Wentz he doesn't even have to be like that MVP that he was kind of like playing at that level before he got hurt the first time. If he can even just become like a, comparable quarterback to Phillip Rivers, I would trust him more than I would Rivers. And, I mean, they had a great season last year. They got a couple newer pieces. I think they're just better than the Titans overall, and that's really all that matters in this division.
Yeah.
Because the other two are that bad. So, we all had the same spots, though, for the teams.
Same order.
Yeah.
I just said that Tennessee would be a little worse. You said Jacksonville would be way worse.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville's going to be trash. This is what I mean by being super low and super high on teams, though, which is why I can't wait when Jacksonville goes like fucking 7-10 or some bullshit.
Yeah, they make the 7th seed, and you're just like, oh my god! I said they'd win 2 games.
At least I don't.
Or when Indy just doesn't work,
Fox.
and yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Indy goes like fucking, I don't know, 7 and I hate not knowing like the standings anymore off the top of my head.
The 17-game season is a mistake. I hate it so much.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. More football, awesome. But I like even. I like even things. Like, helps my OCD, bro. I don't like seeing 7-10. We went 15-2.
Well, and also, like, I like the idea that you have a set number of home and away games that are equal. I don't like the idea that you have one more home game or one more away game, because when it comes down to it, every team who's on the fringe of the playoffs, it's going to come down to one game, or it's going to come down to one game to win a division.